a time. We will look at the front pages of the dailies. Ali, Emily, an editor joins us now.
Hello.
Good to have you here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
We start off with the People's Daily this Tuesday, starting from the top. Buratai to militants, embrace peace or face the music. Appears the tone is changing now. Quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this is not the time. This is not the first time he has spoken this topic. If you recall, the operation to the counter-insurgency operation was renamed Operation Lafia Doli. You know, when it started, it was Operation Lafia. That is peace, something like that. But now, by force, there must be peace. So he has been talking tough. And then, I don't know, some will say he has walked his tough talk.
Yeah.
And that's why the insurgents, they've been cornered. They've been, forced to a particular spot. But then you can see not too long ago, there have been occasional forays. They've taken the offensive. Only last week, they ambushed the military personnel, and some were missing. Yeah. But I think some have been traced back home. So it's not the first time. And I think so far it has paid off. Well, I would say even handsomely. So really, Buratai has walked his talk. So I think it's just a matter of time for the final onslaught. Yeah. And probably peace will be restored completely. I think they have made inroads into Sambisa, the dreaded Sambisa forest. Yes. Yes, and I think the story is trending in some of the papers.
Yes, it is. But the lead story on the front page of the People's Daily says Buhari, Nigeria will come out of economic recession stronger, orders all exploration in Bauchi.
Well, let's hope so. And I think is it the IMF now, and I guess one or two other international agencies saying that at a later time in the course of the year, the economy, which has been officially in recession, though there are even conflicting views about that. Two ministers, you can see last week, they clashed about their opinion. But, you know, he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches the most. We are all feeling the economic recession.
Will tell better
yeah, precisely, you and I don't know. Lately, there have been some level of improvement in the energy supply, especially power supply. But then inflation has gone double digits and it's worrisome.
Maybe that's your area later.
Yeah.
Some people are still complaining about the distribution of energy as well.
Yeah, depending, of course, in the neighborhood. Yeah, some neighborhoods enjoy a greater power supply than others. But certainly, you can see inflation has really gone through the roof, especially with the hike in fuel prices. And then, speculation again. And then the gaps in the bridging. Lately there's been some tension in the supply chain. Yeah. Yes. But really, we are feeling the brunt of the economic recession.
Well,
a lot of money has been diverted to just food alone. Nothing for leisure, nothing for healthcare. Just you want to survive.
What else would you expect a president to say say something that's on a hopeful and positive tone, which is what leads the People's Daily. Nigeria will come out of economic recession stronger. Well, Nigerians wait for the time, but in the meantime, they want their bellies to be filled. At the bottom of the paper, the budget padding, NAS members are corrupt. That's according to Obasanjo. What else? Ali, I don't know. You're smiling. I don't know if you want to comment on this.
No, well, anytime you see Obasanjo is in the news, there will be some kind of comic relief.
Yes.
And so to say, especially, and I think really, he's not saying anything different. But then some people will accuse him actually of aiding and fostering corruption in the National Assembly. Way back in 1999, it was alleged that it was him who frustrated the emergence of the late Okadibo as Senate President because he wanted somebody else. And then you remember the case of Naaba, there was public display of Ghana must go, allegedly from the presidency. So, and then El-Rufai also alleged, if you remember that, before he was cleared, he had to do some palm greasing. So, well, he may be right, but then also the presidency under his watch is not totally blameless of corruption. But really, the National Assembly as it were now is not smelling like a rose.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I love that word, not smelling like a rose. Let's move forward now. Other headlines you find at the bottom of the People's Daily. Sokoto traders lose multi-million naira wares to wildfire. That's on page 8 of the paper.
Yes, indeed. I quite like your picture story there with the president, with the fifth president.
Oh, yes, president.
Remarkable picture.
Two presidents.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Daily Sun. Rising this morning is still the National Assembly. Will premiere there. National Assembly Den of Thieves. Coming from Obasanjo. We are not aware of allegations. Senate replies to that, and that is on page 6 as well. But just opposite the masthead, you find the fuel tanker sets Lagos ablaze. 2 die. Commuters stranded as gridlock stretches many kilometers, and that's on page 8. But what you might also want to look at is page 10 of that story coming from Okorocha. Mohammadu will lose seat soon. Imo governor on wild goose chase, and that is Deputy Senate President talking on page 10. Well, those are two heads, man. Well, Ali, how do you look at that? One is from a governor of the Southeast, and the other one is, of course, a political statesman from the Southeast as well, Okorocha and Ike Ekweremadu.
Yeah, well, you expect that kind of spat between these two, if you like, political giants in the Southeast. Okorocha clearly, since he pitched camp with the ruling APC after defection from his old party, and he's been talking really well politically. Some say he's been more on the offensive, but then clearly he cannot make, according to them, any more inroads in the Southeast, because APC his state is the only lone APC in the Southeast. Yes. And then Ike Ekweremadu being the Deputy Senate President. I think the national order of hierarchy, I think it's about number 4 or 5.
Number 5.
Yes. So you expect that kind of thing, grandstanding. But it's really up to the voters really to determine who.
Decide.
Yes. Yes.
All right, we still see the budget pardon Jibrin lied coming from Senate, and that's on page 6. We will expose why he was removed. That's a response coming from, of course, the National Assembly, members of the House of Rep. But what we also find there is PDP must be ready to put things right. Roma talks about that on page 8. Food shortage to end 2018, no way talks on page 3. But Ali, what's your hope for PDP at this moment, especially looking at all the elections that are going to come? Osun, Edo, and a new chairmanship, campaign going on. Do you think they can get it together?
Yeah, well, the rerun election in Kogi is a pointer to that. And then, the thing about any party in office or in power, it's every day it erodes its own goodwill. It's you can see that the goodwill the APC has enjoyed at inception of its rule is diminishing for obvious reasons. And but then the PDP dependent, because right now the PDP is a house divided against itself. Yeah. And then those who are involved, the leading contenders or the factions now, or the groups, they don't want to use that word, you can see all of them, they are dogged fighters. Especially if you look at Mohammadu Buhari, all his political trajectory has been that of, he's a long distance runner. Yeah. He enjoys it. Yeah, he enjoys it. He revels in controversy. So, but if it's able to put its house in order, especially now that the PDP chair has been zoned to the south, I think it could get, because people, it's growing discontentment with the ruling party, especially among the elite. And, because the focus of the federal government, led by the president, this issue about corruption, and some will say, therefore, punctured the argument that it's actually, it's one-sided, actually. So I see the PDP really, if it's able to put its house in order. Together. Yes, given a run for the APC in coming challenges, because people want to have this illusion of promise. People want to have alternatives. Yes. And that's why PDP was voted out after 16 years. So it depends on how it's, but I don't see that happening, because there are so many intrigues. What had held the PDP over time was the government at the center. There was a lot to accommodate, like the family members. Yes. The conflict in the PDP had always been settled amicably, because
they had a president who was a rallying point.
Precisely. And then it could be settled, family quarrels, family affair. But then the government at the center is gone.
And they're exposed.
And somebody, a cartoon I saw, very mischievous. And they say the PDP is actually internally displaced. And then there was the president.
All right. Okay. What's
seriously cracking us up here.
Yes. Well, let's look at that picture story there. One again of two. Well, one sitting president, another one a former president, still talking his tough. President Mohammadu Buhari and Sweet, former President Olusegun Obasanjo at the presidential villa Abuja yesterday. So not only the FIFA president also met with the presence of the president, also former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and interesting enough, both were military, headsmen as well. But that's what we find there running from Daily Sun, and I think all the interesting stories will definitely find its way inside the newspaper.
But while the Daily Sun brought you a photo of that visit of Obasanjo to the president, New Telegraph brought you behind the scene what was said. Perhaps Obasanjo looked as if he was saying something to the president.
And not convinced.
Yeah, the New Telegraph is saying, watch your back. Seems to be what Obasanjo is saying. Obasanjo warns Buhari, says, I'm vindicated by budget padding. Senate, we can't impeach the president. Watch your back from who? People would ask.
Yeah, that is it. And I think the editors of the New Telegraph, they've been more, if you like, same story but treated differently. And then the National Assembly, like you said, you see, if I were the president, dealing with the National Assembly, you have to treat with caution. You can be carrot and stick, because collectively, if they unite, they can cause a problem for you. If they can't impeach him, certainly impeachment is out of the picture. But then they could cause a lot of problems. Some of his...
and roadblocks.
And roadblocks. So you have to treat the National Assembly, both chambers, with caution. How you handle them, have the political skills to handle them. Otherwise, all the time dangling the stick, it may not work. People will say they have a constituency to protect and to promote. Yes, but watching your back, advice from Obasanjo. Like I said, the editors here are very imaginative. It's a paper I want to... and then like the Sun also, you can see, I think they have the same stable.
Yes.
Saying National Assembly, that is very... is telling. Den of thieves coming from Obasanjo. It's very graphic.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a den and then of thieves, then you don't feel safe.
I also think the president is also knowing that he's taking advantage of that weakness in the National Assembly, the fact that they are divided and they can't really form that kind of cohesive position to, move against the presidency. So,
and meanwhile, Nigerians are suffering.
Oh, yes.
All of
the
us.
sad one to that.
Yeah.
The photos speak there. 2 died, tanker explodes in layers. Of course, you can see the pictures there. And, of course, firefighters trying to tend to the flames right there.
All right, leadership is leading and sailing away this time. Of course, still more storms in the water. 2016 budget, federal government spends 2.1 trillion naira in 2 months, and that's on page 5. But what you might also want to look below the masthead is NMPC to fast-track oil exploration in Chad Basin, and that's on page 6. NEC gets new chairman, commissioners, and that's on page 7. However, another interesting running story there, subsequently we've seen that on social media, Shehu Obama's wife, daughter, freed from 2 years Boko Haram captivity, and that's on page 6 of leadership. For the first time this morning, we'll see the picture being joined, of course, apart from the FIFA president and the president. We'll see Mrs. Fatma Samara, the new FIFA Secretary General at Senegalese, really quite done in her Senegalese there, OT, if you find that story. And Manju Panik also in that picture. And that's what's sailing away from leadership newspaper.
Let's quickly run you through the front page of the Nigerian Pilot. Starting from the top there, you find this headline from Chiroma, former finance minister, says PDP didn't lose 2015 presidential election. Then what, you might ask? Find out details on page 4 of the paper. Of course, you still find it's still a rallying point for the PDP. He's still a strong, was a member of the G34 that formed the PDP. So PDP members still going to him and seeking for his blessings as they try to reform here. What else do we have here on the front page? Of course, what Obasanjo said. Nigerian Pilot captions it as senators, reps are rogues. Obasanjo, Dogara last time diverted millions of naira. Jibrin is saying that at the bottom of the paper, no more budget without character commission's input. That's coming from Udoma, and naira sinks to record closing low of 310 to $1. Benue renewed Fulani herders attack, claim 10 lives. That's on page 6 of the paper.
Well, Daily Trust is looking at the thrust of the story here. No man of integrity in National Assembly, and that's still coming from Obasanjo. So today's newspaper will definitely run with that story. So read one, read all generically. But bottom page, you see EFCC quizzes ex-deputy speaker Moshe, center page, bottom page, and that's on page 3, as well as resume oil search in Chad Basin, Buhari orders NNPC, and that's on page 13. However, we see APC has not proven it. Won 2015 polls coming for the there on page 37 of Daily Trust, and that's the story coming to you front page. 1.06 trillion naira says, well, federal government records revenue deficit. That's coming from the budget office.
The Blueprint is reporting that corruption looked beyond PDP. Ex-minister tells Buhari that's at the bottom of the paper. Of course, what we're seeing at the top is mainly what we've seen in other papers as well. And of course, the president still talking transparency, this time in football, saying we are paying attention to transparency in football, coming from President Mohammadu Buhari.
Well, finally here for me, the authority looks at its center page. Be vigilant on National Assembly. Obasanjo warns Buhari. Corrupt lawmakers, be vigilant on National Assembly. Obasanjo warns Buhari. Then you also find just above the mastheads, parents of Chibok girls tell stories of neglect and woes, and that's center page above the masthead on page 4. In fact, 2 stories running critically on page 4 are Niger Delta crisis, Army vows to use force if dialogue fails, and that's on page 4 as well. FIFA endorses football made in Anambra project, and of course that comes with Ifeanyuba's club there, FIFA president, and Ifeanyuba. Of course, he's a publisher of the authority newspapers. This was during Infantino's official visit to Nigeria. And that story on Okorocha and Ekweremadu still also is coming to you front page, the authority.
All right, some sporting news now from Sporting Sun. Some sad story as well. Keshi's burial holds Friday. That's what the paper is reporting. And another sad one, house rent. Amodu's family gets quit notice. Of course, the man died, and now his family getting a quit notice. Who will bail them out? The NFF? Man U agrees 140 million euros Pogba deal. Ali, we had the comments on sports, so I want your thoughts on this. Pogba, is he overrated?
I think he is really very much overrated sometimes, and I think there's a lot of hype there.
Yes.
Yes.
That's when the agents are doing their job, because the more they hype him, the more the money goes up.
Precisely, it's all about the Benjamins. They say.
Yes, the Benjamins. All right, thank you so much, Ali, for being here with us.
Yes,
always a pleasure having you in newspaper review with us every Tuesday. Don't miss him.
Thank you.
I'll take a short break now. I will have a first talking point coming up next. Stay with us.
Power to the people! In the beginning, 34 great Nigerians came together to found